Blog Talk Radio.
Archangels, ghosts, and Bigfoot. Oh my. It's just another night for Supernatural Girlz. Real stories, real answers to life's biggest supernatural mysteries. And now for another exciting interview with paranormal experts from this world and others. Psychic medium Helene Olsen and paranormal researcher Patricia Baker. Here are Supernatural Girlz.
Everyone, and welcome to another episode of Supernatural Girlz. I am Helene Olsen, and you can find me at angelslighthouse.com, and I'm here tonight with my wonderful partner, Patricia Baker. Hello, Patricia.
Hello, Helene, and hello to all our listeners. This is going to be such a fun show and very informative, life-saving.
Yeah. It is, and today is May 18th, 2013, another wonderful Saturday night in New England. But we want to remind people that they can call in with their questions live for our expert, Kathy Duffy, at 646-478-0828. And it looks like there's already callers on the line, huh?
Yes, indeed. I'm sure we're going to have a full house tonight. So I have some paranormal news also about a gnome. Now, this is not the first time we've heard about this gnome, but this is in South America. And there was a sighting of this gnome that occurred back in 2008 in a town. And what happened was these teenagers were wandering around the streets, and they all of a sudden they heard something, and they trained their cell phone on it, their cell phone video camera. And what they captured on their camera was a gnome. And I'll tell you what, this picture, it looks real to me. And it had a little pointed hat, and it was walking sideways, scared the heck out of the kids. So you can hear them screaming, and then you see them running, and the cell phone is bouncing up and down, and that's the end of that picture. But anyways, the part that's really funny is this gnome apparently has showed up in a town about 300 miles from the first location. And the residents are saying that it seems to be out in the pre-dawn areas, and it's looking for people to frighten. And when this happens, they're saying that this gnome kind of has an attitude, and these people are scared, and the police don't know what to do. They're scared of it, too. So they said that dozens of people have reported seeing this gnome. They're saying it knocks them off their bicycles and then kicks them and does other nasty little things to them. So it's just the funniest little story. But when I saw the photo, I was like, you know what? This looks like a real thing to me. This does not look manufactured. Of course, who knows? It's Photoshopped. But the stories keep circulating and coming in from South America about this, and they describe this little gnome with big pointed ears, wearing an enormous hat, and he keeps showing up. So this is the first time that in modern times, anyways, in a while, we've heard about this kind of a sighting, and the fact that he just keeps popping up all over the place in this South American area is fascinating.
Well, can I comment on that story, Patricia?
Please.
Well, my friend and I went to a sort of sacred piece of land recently that I haven't written up my story about yet, unfortunately, but I'll get to it, I promise. But what we saw, there were a ton of nature spirits, and I've seen them many times in other places as well. And it's really interesting because when you can see that kind of energy, gnomes really look like gnomes. And fairies really look like fairies, just the way the folklore says. And honestly, this picture of the gnome is amazing because when I took pictures on the land, people that I showed the pictures to could see the nature spirits in the pictures. And
right.
They don't look human, they look very different. They look like little creatures, And gnomes really look like gnomes, but what I've found with gnomes is that they are the most beautiful, loving energy that ever was. And they're just, if you're friendly to them, if you have a light, if you wish them no harm, they will come out and talk to you, okay? And they usually don't come out by themselves. There's usually a group. That's what I've found.
Oh.
But what I got from this picture of this gnome is that he's either a mutant gnome or he's like a troll parading as a gnome.
Oh, my. He's
masquerading
and
trolls
as a gnome.
are nasty.
Okay.
And they do not like humans at all. Gnomes will interact with humans, but trolls are not that friendly, and they don't like them around. And I'm wondering, a lot of spirits are able to sort of shape-shift or make themselves appear the way we the way they want us to see them.
Right.
And I'm wondering if this is truly a true gnome energy, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm explaining that the right way.
Yeah,
but
I understand what you mean because, again, it's not acting very loving, knocking people off their bicycles and things like that. So
right. Gnomes will tend to hide rather than bother people,
Yeah, this one's really bothering people, apparently.
And trolls will bother
it's having
people.
a lot of fun doing it. So.
And trolls will bother people. So.
Well, that must be that.
I'm
Maybe
just
that's
wondering.
What it is. It's just a picture of the video. The video that I saw also, it really was kind of spooky. And, again, just this little guy, whatever he is, he's really having fun making people scared of him.
And this is super energy. I mean, it takes them a lot of concentrated energy to be able to knock someone over, push them down, that really interfere with a moving vehicle, whether it's a bike or whatever. And so that's why I'm wondering if it's really a gnome, because I don't think they'd spend their energy that way.
I think you're right. So this is not a gnome, I would guess. I think you're onto something here. They may have to bring you down to South America to deal with this thing.
Nah, that's all right.
Well, tonight we are so blessed to have a local celebrity from Western Mass who is now an internationally known expert with medical herbalism and aromatherapy. Kathy Duffy is a critical care nurse who is also highly trained in medical herbs, the use of herbs in medicine and to treat everybody for health and wellness purposes, as well as aromatherapy. And, Kathy and I were talking earlier in the day about all the misconceptions that are out there about how to use aromatherapy, how to use oils, how to use herbs. And so she's going to be clearing up a lot of that tonight, as well as giving us her vast wealth of knowledge on herbs and growing them and harvesting them and how to do it correctly. So there's a lot we're going to learn tonight.
It's amazing. Let's bring her on. What do you say,
Let's
Patricia?
bring Kathy on.
Okay. Kathy, this is Helene. You're live on the air.
Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too.
Hi, Kathy.
Hello, Patricia.
So what do you think of our little gnome story?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I have to go along with Helene. That's not gnomish behavior.
All right. See, we're going to clear this mystery right off the bat.
Not that I'm an expert at all, but, my friendly little garden spirits would never push anybody off a bicycle.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. So, Kathy, you've been involved with herbs and aromatherapy for many, many years, and Helene and I were discussing how did you get into this whole field of health and wellness from being a critical care nurse in traditional medicine to what you're doing today?
Well, I can tell you it wasn't my choice.
Really?
It was, I had no idea. None. I started as a critical care nurse in 1965, and I'd always wanted to be a nurse. And in 65, I got out of nursing school and started working in, with all the machines and the tubes and critical care, emergency room, pediatric intensive care, cardiac care. It was very mechanical, very, very mechanical, the kind of work that I did. And around 1977, I started feeling that I had to do something different. People were still sick. They weren't getting better. I worked in critical care, and I was absolutely amazed at what the body could do. We would have somebody shot, let's say, and I would see a beautiful young body there, 22-year-old young man, everything to live for, and a tiny little hole, a quarter of an inch around, took his life away. And then I would see someone who fell 4 stories, and everything was smashed, and everything was broken and squished, and surgeries happened over and over, or put them back together, and that person walked out of the hospital. And it was just, we could put these people back together. We were great mechanics, but we didn't know how to heal. And there was things happening in my life. My son had gotten very sick. I got involved in a laetrile project, and I was asked to give a family member intravenous laetrile under the direction of a doctor from Virginia. And I did it, and I was absolutely amazed at what happened to the woman. She didn't follow the normal course of pancreatic cancer that I'd ever seen, and she was good. She was really good. She just had a big fat tummy, but she was good for months and months and months. And then shortly after Christmas of 1977, she told me to just stop and just put a Band-Aid on and pretend I had done it. And she was tired. And I watched her, and in 3 weeks she was gone. And she taught me that it's not out of our hands how we finish up our time here on life, on Earth. And I was just a baby nurse then. It was in 1977. I was probably just about 30 years old, and I was just stunned at what I was seeing with her. So anyway, I went to New York City to visit my sister, and she said, come with me, and I have to get some herbs in the city. And we went into this tiny little shop full of jars, full of barrels, full of herbs. I knew nothing about medicinal herbs. I just knew Peter Rabbit had chamomile tea for his tummy ache after he pigged out in Mr. McGregor's garden. That's all I knew. But I grew plants. I grew loads of plants, and I talked to them all the time, and I had loads of plants. But anyway, I said to her, wouldn't this be great in Northampton, Mass., where I lived? And she said, yep, if you'll do the work, I'll give you the money. And that was the beginning. $4,000 later, we started a shop that's celebrating its 35th year on May 20th this month.
Congratulations.
Wow. Thank you.
Wow.
And it took a life of its own. And so what I did was, being a nurse, I didn't know a thing. I didn't know how to make change. I didn't know anything about this. But I knew I had to learn more about the plants, because how could I make a living for my family if I didn't know about the plants? So I studied every type of scientific herbal method I could get my hands on. And at that time, this was pre-computer. The Herb Book by John Lust was my Bible. Back to Eden by Jethro Kloss. Anything that Dr. John Christopher had written or published or made audio tapes of, I listened to, saw him when I could, went to one of the first conferences ever held up at the Omega Institute, because we were just camping at that time. There was no big Omega Institute. Anything I could do to learn about herbs. And so it cost me a good bit. It cost me my husband of 13 years at the time. Yep. And so that was the end of that one. And I had 2 children. I was a single mom, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, in January of 1980, this young man came into my shop and asked me if I would do a radio show with him, and I said, well, I'll take your card. Took the card, went home with the big plan of just tossing it in the trash, and my son saw it, and he said, Mom, you got to do that. You got to do that radio show with that guy. And I did the radio show with that guy in January of 1980, and then in September of 1982, I married him. So it's funny.
The universe opens doors.
Oh, my gosh. Oh my gosh. And and the things that have come to me through that shop, my 3rd child, my daughter Jessica, my husband of 30 years, and then in 1995 or 6 or 7, 1997 I think, I went to an aromatherapy conference in Boston and met a critical care nurse from England, and her name was Jane Buckle, and I took some of her courses and became an instructor for her, and I just teach all over east of the Mississippi, west of the Mississippi. We did an instructor class in Ireland together, so I just sit back, and as soon as I get concerned about something, wondering about work, I go into the tub, and I sit there, open my hands, and say, fill me up. You guys know what I got to do, so just send me where I'm supposed to be. And they do.
That's great. So you have a pretty blessed life amongst all the plants and herbs and
my gosh,
aromas.
Can you imagine making your living with plants, because of plants, teaching about plants, and it's such a gift. And I watch what they do, these plants and herbs and essential oils, and I'm on my knees almost every day in front of them, because the more I learn, the less I know. And yet,
you've been able to really help people with their health issues, which you've had over 1,500 private clients, and they've come to you with some very complicated health issues where they haven't been able to get help in any other way.
But it's not me. It's the plant. The information is not mine. It comes through me. I don't believe that anybody can call ourselves healers. I don't heal anybody. I provide the information that I've learned, also that I'm given, because sometimes when I give formulas and recipes, I have no clue where they came from. I just give them, and it comes through you. But the real healers are the plants. And when
That's great. And I understand, and I know, Helene, you understand that also.
Well, I do. I'm trying to process what you said. So basically what it is you're getting downloads on this information, and you allow it to just flow with grace and ease, just the way we're supposed to. And so as you're putting your thought on a client, the information just flows right through you, and you absolutely trust it. And I bet that on that basis you've found enormous success with clients.
Well, I think the first thing you have to do is know your field. So I know what plants will do this, that, or the other thing. Let me tell you a little secret, since there's nobody listening, just us. When I would make herbal formulas in the shop, in the Herbarium, which is the name of my shop, I knew what herbs I wanted to use. So I'd go around to the jars, and to me, it was an impression of a little imaginary hand coming up from the jar saying, pick me, pick me, pick me.
Yes.
So you know what I'm saying? I would tell.
Crystals do the same thing,
Yes. Yeah. They tell us. And so I would say to whoever was there, the customer, client, whatever, you write this down, because I'm not going to know what this is. I'm not going to know exactly what this formula is. So you're totally going, for me it's the solar plexus area. I'm totally going with that, completely trusting it. You're okay until you start second-guessing yourself. So before I would go to work, I would pray all the way down to work. Whenever I do any kind of work with the plants, I always say my little things and give it up to them, spirit of the plants, and use that as direction and totally trust it, and then be grateful for it, and be thankful that they helped you. But you don't analyze it, and you don't overthink it, because that's when the other side of the brain, that left side of the brain, gets in the way.
It's true. Let me ask you a question about the plants now. I don't generally communicate with plants, although I do see nature spirits at times when I'm open to it. But plants I've found, each plant seems to have a little different vibration, and some of them are more open to sort of sending you that vibration than others are. Is that true, or is that my block?
No, for me, if I go out in the woods and I see somebody I know, somebody meaning plant, there's some that are like little firecrackers. Hello. And then there's others that just like people, there's shy ones, quiet ones, more reserved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a feeling that I get from them, and it's a feeling, and
it is a feeling.
It's
not. I haven't found that plants have a voice per se. It's more like a vibration or a feeling, just like you're describing it.
Yeah,
and,
they don't have vocal cords. Yes. But I'm going to tell you, there was a time when the woods around me, there was a developing coming into the woods, and they marked all the trees, with those ties that they put around. So I know somebody. I can't say who, but I know somebody who went around and took them all off, and they put those ties back on again. And that same person went out and took them all off again, and then they wound up just spraying way up high on the trees. And I went out and did a ceremony for them all, bawling, because I was so sad that I couldn't. And they said to me, "It's okay, it's okay. You tried. So
that life force is so powerful, and we disrespect it all the time, I think, in so many ways. And I know that you have a certain way that you harvest plants.
Yes.
So why don't you share that with our audience so we can all hear about that?
Well, it's something that I learned from some of my native teachers, indigenous teachers, and I tried to teach it to my grandsons and my children. And I wanted them to know that this was like my plant philosophy. Plants are like people in disguise, and their roots go into the ground with a consciousness. There's a consciousness that makes those roots go into the ground and collect nutrients, bring them up into the plant, and then we harvest the plant and eat those nutrients. But if you drop a daffodil bulb in the ground upside down, it's going to still come up, because its consciousness knows, well, I'm upside down, but I still got to go up towards the light. So why do all the violets come out at the same time? Why does all the leaves come out around the same time? There's a plant consciousness that tells them where the light is. Your big plant leaves turn right towards the light. So there's something there, and I wanted my kids to know that, and I wanted them to teach them respect for these plants. So the first thing you do, doesn't matter what you're picking, handful of violets, lilacs, you have to ask the plant permission. May I please have some of your body to bring into my house? May I have some of your leaves to use for medicine? May I have a part of you to use for my betterment or for the betterment of my family? Because if I was with you, Patricia, and it was cold, I would never take your jacket or your sweater off of you to put on me.
Right.
We got to do the same kind of thing. So that's one step. And the next step is to know how much is yours. If you've got a plant that's got tons of tomatoes on it, don't take them all. You take about a third. If it's leaves or things that you're harvesting on the plant, same thing. Take about a third. Leave the rest for the plant to use to regenerate itself and to reprocess itself. And if you're walking in the woods or you're walking in a field and you see something you want to pick and there's only a few, just leave them there. There'll be more. And it's amazing how you can be walking somewhere in a park or some area, and I start to pick maybe Joe Pye weed or something, and there's only 3 or 4 plants right where I am, and I'll keep going, and then bam, there's loads of them. So just, you'll be surprised what you'll find. And when you've done that, do say thank you, because we're such a disposable, throwaway society. We have everything. We dispose of our dishes, cups. We throw everything away. Well, plants give us our homes, our clothing, our food, our paper that we write on. They give us so much of what we use every day. Our medicine, something like 90 species of plants is where all our medicines have come from. So we need to say thank you. It's a precious, precious resource, and it's not going to be there forever. The rainforest is like the lungs of our planet. Plants breathe for us. They pick up carbon dioxide in the air, and that's what nourishes them, and they throw off oxygen. it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here. And if you're picking anything out in the wild and you take the whole plant, or you have to dig it up for the roots or something, just put a few seeds or some corn or something in its place, just to, just as a gesture, even to replace it. But I think that's really important.
It is. I mean, this is, again, what Indigenous people have tried to, I think, communicate to us, and in the society we live in today that doesn't seem to respect much. And it's important because it also, from what I see that you're talking about, you're also setting up an immediate communication. And that's what we forget, is that we're acting like we're just going to take what we need and that's the end of it. So there is a communication that's taking place. And if you want the highest level of healing and the highest level of understanding from that plant so that your body can feel better, then it makes sense that you're going to have that type of respect with that plant.
Yes, and I was just out today poking around under the trees in the backyard, and I found 2 little golden seal plants, and I don't have many left. They didn't winter over well. But when I look at them, they're not just a plant. They're something that's helped a loved one of mine heal their skin, healed their mucous membrane. They're not just a pretty little plant. They're powerful medicines.
And they, especially golden seal, my goodness.
I know.
That's one of my favorites. And
I know.
Everything, I know that I've used it for lots of things, everything from bladder infections to infections in general, intestinal issues. I mean, it's just incredible the amount of power this has. And I've even heard that you have to be careful about the amount you use because it can heal so quickly.
Well, that's
whatever
if you have it.
Focusing on.
It can heal in foreign objects on your skin. It can heal very quickly that way. If you have, say, you fell into the kids riding their bike and got gravel in or something, and if you put golden seal without cleaning something, you'll heal it right in there. But it's not going to do anything with like kill off probiotics and things like that, like antibiotics in the gut. But it's not something that you take as a preventive. You take it when you need it.
Which makes sense, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it is one of the most powerful, isn't it, for an antibacterial and antiviral?
It's very powerful. I remember having, I had a big sliver in my finger and had to go to the doctors and have them take it out. They had to dig it out, and then I had stitches, and I used golden seal and other things to heal it all up, and I went back in like 3 days, and it was all healed, and they took the stitches out, and I knew something was wrong, and because I couldn't bend my finger, and he said, no, it's all your imagination, you're fine. Well, anyway, it turned out that after a few days, I was able to push on the area, and out came a piece of wood.
Oh.
There was still a piece of wood stuck in my finger, but there had been no infection because I'd used golden seal and black salve. And so the doctor had said to me, look, Duffy, if there's still something in there, he said, you bring it to me and I won't charge you. And I'm telling you, Patricia, I put it in a little envelope, went down to it.
Here it is.
Yeah. This is what you missed, big guy.
Now, will golden seal heal skin ulcers?
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? A combination of golden seal and maybe some essential oils like helichrysum, which is so powerful. You can watch the healing occur. You can watch a change happen in the size of the area. You golden seal in combination with other things. We make something called magic salve that I've made for, I don't know, almost 30 years. And it's golden seal and burdock and comfrey and echinacea.
So do you have people with actual skin ulcerations, you know, really hard to heal wounds on their legs and ankles come in?
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. Why don't you give the name of your website right now, because I don't think we've mentioned it yet.
Well, I got to look on a piece of paper because I never call it either. So wait a minute, let me find out. The website is the Herbarium, TheHerbarium.com, theherbarium.com.
Well, thank you so much, Kathy. And we're going to take a moment to take a break, and we hope that all of our listening audience stays with us for a few moments. This is a fascinating and very, very important show. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
Stay with
We'll
us.
be right back. Make sure and call 646-478-0828 if you'd like to ask Kathy a health question. We will return shortly.
Your property tax bill. Have you seen it lately? It's frightening. Your property taxes are going up while your home value is going down. It's time to fight back and win. For the real truth about the property tax system, get attorney Pat Quintilian's book, Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. Attorney Quintilian answers all your questions and gives you the facts you need to fight a property tax bill that is spiraling out of control. You'll also read about what happens to property owners who don't check their property records, only to find out too late they're taxed on square footage, fixtures, and even buildings that they don't own. Is this happening to you? Learn your rights. Buy attorney Pat Quintilian's book today. Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. Available on Amazon.com.
Sometimes life can be a challenge. Would you like insight and guidance to help you make the best choices right now? Contact Helene at angelslighthouse.com to make your personal appointment for a psychic reading or energy alignment. Helene is a direct channel to the angelic realm and is remarkably capable of connecting to the living as well as to your loved ones on the other side. Helene is available to clients all over the world via phone or Skype, and it's simple to set up a group reading anywhere. Visit angelslighthouse.com, where you'll find an easy way to schedule right online. And while you're there, sign up for the Angels Lighthouse newsletter and receive information on all the free energy circles, giveaways, and jewelry with a message. Visit angelslighthouse.com and contact Helene today.
Welcome back, and thank you for staying tuned during our break. Patricia will be with us in just a moment. And Kathy, we were talking about a salve that you make at your shop for clearing up ulcerations. And what else does it clear up?
Any kind of skin disharmony. We've used it for, you name it, insect bites, acne. We had one woman who had just recently severe, well, they weren't sure if it was eczema or psoriasis on her feet. They had done biopsies and things came back and it wasn't clear. She couldn't walk, and she'd have to be in slippers. And so I gave her some salve and told her to put some German chamomile in it. And we got a phone call in 24 hours, and she was beside herself, able to put her shoes on. I just saw her recently barefoot in pretty sandals. And this had been going on since last fall.
So does it actually attack the bacteria that's causing the disharmony, or what does it do?
You know, the combination in the
the
salve,
mechanism. That,
yeah, and it's the synergy. It's the way they all work together. It would be like trying to ask me, is the quarterback the most important, or the fullback, or the you know, there's something. We call it magic salve because it heals like magic, and we've used it for, like I said, 30 years. And
well, you know what? I'm going to be the first one ordering it for a member of my family, okay?
Oh,
and
fine.
What I guess that I get concerned about, Kathy, and this really, really bothers me, is that this family member has been in and out of medical care with these skin ulcerations.
Yeah.
And it goes on, and it never ends. And here we have something that absolutely works for these difficult-to-heal wounds,
I know.
spending thousands of dollars in not just medical insurance, but all the extra supplies that you need, the back-and-forth travel to doctors and wound care specialists. And why isn't this kind of a treatment available widely or known for people who really have these kind of issues?
And that's such a good question, and there's good answers. First, is this person diabetic?
No.
Okay. One of the things, are you in Massachusetts?
Yes, I am, yeah.
Okay. In Massachusetts, for one state, does not recognize naturopathic medicine. So doctors of naturopathy are not allowed to practice in Massachusetts. Now, in January this year, a bill came before the legislature to allow naturopathic medicine, and it's gone to Deval Patrick to be signed, but it's just the education that would be necessary. So we're getting there, but we're not there. The other thing that happens is you cannot patent a natural remedy in this country. Nowhere in the world can you patent the salve. So nobody wants to do any work with it. You could go to the Botanical Gardens in New York City, and here's how we get our plant medicine. People called ethnobotanists go to the Amazon, they go to South America, they go to Russia, and they find out what the folk remedies are. Then they send back samples of that plant material. And that plant material would go to the laboratory in the Botanical Gardens, and you can go and look at it in New York City. And they have these beakers with macerated plant material mixed in alcohol and water in beakers with a big X or a Y or an A on it. They don't know what it is. And it's macerated, but it's moving. It's being agitated. And then after X amount of time, they will take it out and analyze it and look for a spike on the graph. And most of the time they say, well, that's the highest spike, that's the most active ingredient. But if you really want to learn about spikes on a graph, watch the movie Medicine Man with Sean Connery. Not only do you get to watch Sean Connery running around in shorts and an earring and a ponytail up in the trees, you get to learn about spikes on a graph. It's not the biggest spike on the graph. It's the synergy. There was a study done about 15 years ago on St. John's wort. And St. John's wort, crude extract, which means it's the plant material mixed in alcohol and water. And the study showed that it killed the AIDS virus in vitro. So they analyzed it. Was it hyperforin? Was it hyperixin? What was it? It was none of the individual ingredients that did the work. It was
combination.
Yes. And it cannot be patented because it's a natural remedy. So that investigation went down the toilet. And it's good that they can't do that. And again, it's the doctors do what the doctors do because it's what they know. Now it's come a long way. When I first started the shop, people would be telling me, my doctor said if I come up here to you, I got to drop him. Now it's different. Doctors will say, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it because you're getting good results.
And there's a little more tolerance for natural medicine, but I think it also takes a lot more impetus on the part of the person that has a health problem to reach out to someone like you, Kathy, and get the information they need to get well. I mean, there's a lot of people who are still turning their health over to the physicians and the drug companies. And it's not working very well that way.
We still have not gotten past the fact that your head is connected to your body by more than just your neck. You know, really and truly, what goes around up there manifests in your physical body. You're so connected, your thoughts. Candace Pert's work in the late 1970s was mind-blowing. This woman was able to radioactively tag the proteins that the brain sent out to communicate with other areas in the body, and she coined the term neuropeptides, and they're communication protein molecules that go throughout the body. So if I'm depressed in my brain, my muscles are going to be depressed. My gut is going to be depressed. If I'm in love in my brain, my circulatory system is better, my digestion is better. Everything goes according. And this is what I found with the essential oils. I worked on a psychiatric unit using the oils on an acute behavioral health unit. And it was amazing to watch people go from a black mood to uplifted, to be talking, to in a matter of seconds. Now, it didn't last and it didn't cure them, but they helped so much because the essential oils, just breathing them in, changes your brain chemistry, therefore changes the chemistry in your body. Deepak Chopra said so many years ago, when we're frightened, even our platelets are huddling. And when you think of it, people have heart attacks after tornadoes and hurricanes and horrible incidents. And maybe it's severe fear or whatever, platelets huddling, clumping, causing blood clots,
Interesting. That's fascinating, and I agree. I think that all of this is so systemic. You can't affect one without the other. And then it goes back to the way we isolate, we try to isolate one component and make a drug out of it. And we're losing so much by doing that because we've lost the synergy of the plant. We've lost the synergy of how it really works. And we're trying to target one thing, and it's really not working. If you look at our medical system for chronic care, it is really not working all that well.
No, and that's why I feel privileged to be able to take this to the systems, to toe in the door. What I do is, it's a drop in the bucket, but it's getting them to think. And the reason this happened was in the 1990s, David Eisenberg did his big study at Beth Israel down in Boston showing that 1 in 3 people in this country were using complementary therapies but were afraid to tell their doctors. And it
I remember that study. Yes, it was a big deal. Mm-hmm.
It was a big deal, and it got the ball started. I mean, about 4 or 5 years ago, there was a big conference for the VA system, and one of my students was telling me that they did a poll and found that something like 75% of the vets said, hey, if you got complementary therapies, we want you to use them on us. Well, within the past year, I've been commissioned by 3 different VA systems to come and teach aromatherapy and touch. Now, you got to know who I have been. In the 1960s, I was up at Westover with my babies protesting. Another Mother for Peace was the name of my organization, and we weren't able to stop the war. But when they come home, I just feel like the plants have a way of soothing them and calming them and helping them. And I got to do it. It's not for me. It's for my grandsons and for the next generation and the next generation. If we can't bring...
There's so much to what you're doing. I mean, you're not just teaching us as individuals. You're also bringing this into our hospitals, our institutions, which is wonderful. But let's ask you some more specific questions on health, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
Because I know that's what so many people are interested in when they're self-motivated and they're looking for better choices. I know lifestyle choices are so important when you're dealing with health issues. But besides that, what happens, for example, because I know you have something very, very powerful. What happens when you have an injury like a major, like a cut? I know, talk about your herbal bandage. This thing is amazing.
Maybe I should let you talk about my herbal bandage.
Well, I'll talk about it too, but I mean, this is an amazing thing, just if you could give the background on it, and then I'll tell you what my husband did.
Okay. All right. Many years ago, in 1979 or so, 2 women came into my shop. I didn't know who they were. And they were talking between themselves, and they put their hands together with a jar in between them. And, I'm just watching them behind the counter. I didn't know what they were talking about. And they came to me and said, this is honest to God, angels told us to give this to you. and you're supposed to use this. And I'm there, okie dokie. Now remember, it's the nurse listening, and they said it's something. It's a recipe for something that we call people paste, but you can call it whatever you want, and you're supposed to have this. And it was the recipe.
Oh my gosh!
And I it's like it was yesterday. I can see them in front of me, the two women, and they said, "We're giving this to you." And we called it.
Have you seen them again?
I saw one of them maybe once or twice after that, but it's been 30-plus years since I've seen them, no.
I'm not getting they were real.
Well, you know, I'll take whatever you get, girlie.
I'm getting that they were actually angels themselves.
Yeah, well, it was just amazing, and, you know, I still get goose pimples when I think about it. And
I'm getting chills right now because I don't, I kind of think they were either earth angels or people who weren't really people. I don't know if I'm saying that the right way, but they were meant to manifest for you.
It's a product that's so simple, and it is so. If you cut yourself and you're bleeding, and you sprinkle some of this powder into it, it starts to stop bleeding immediately. And if there's any oozing or anything, you keep sprinkling until the blood stops and a hard crust forms. And then you put your Band-Aid over it. And we have used it for everything from really bad chainsaw, table saw cuts that almost took off a thumb. We put the thumb back on with it, to paper cuts, to lawnmower cuts.
Does that work with people who have a blood disorder like hemophilia or von Willebrand's or something like that?
It's going to take a little more of it, but you just put it on a plate and you just keep rolling the digit in it or whatever it is. You keep sprinkling it as it starts to stop the bleeding and make this heavy scab.
So even in people with blood disorders, that'll work. Like if you're taking Coumadin or something like that, it'll.
Yeah, it's going to take more of it, but it will. It will, and then you put a Band-Aid over it. Now, the worst one was that thumb. It was bad. It was really bad. And I was telling the man, who was a friend, and I'm saying, "Oh my God, Carl, you got to go. You got to go. You're going to lose it." And he said, "No, I'm not going to go. You're going to fix it." Okay. And it did fix it, and we've used it for so many things. I don't even know how to explain it.
Did it repair the nerves in his thumb as well?
Well, his thumb was numb at the very tip, and that's the only thing that let him know that. And he was a lefty, and he put his thumb through a table saw. There was just a small amount of it left, really, honest to God. And he sprinkled the herbal bandage on a plate, and he kept rolling it. And I had him, this is all on the phone, I had him tie up his thumb to and hook it up so it was elevated so he could try to sleep. And he kept rolling it because it would ooze every so often. And he'd put more herbal bandage on it, and then by the next day it was pounding a bit, but there was no oozing. He did go to the doctor after about 3 days, and the doctor said, "Look, this is on like a cast." He said, "I just want to make sure that it's clean." Now, the man was covered in sawdust. He came to the house to see us hours later. He was filthy, and no infection, no nothing. After about 2 days, he soaked it in golden seal and echinacea tea and picked off any loose pieces and then put more on. But it healed with a strange scar that wrapped around the thumb, and it was numb at the tip, and that was it. So I don't question.
It's such a powerful thing. And you call it the herbal bandage, right? That's the name that you gave it. Yeah. And I have a similar story to tell about the herbal bandage, because my husband also was doing something he shouldn't have been doing with the table saw, and he cut his finger down to the bone and came running
I'm
upstairs.
Not a nurse.
Yeah, and I'm not a nurse either. And he's screaming, Now, it's funny because what he was screaming was, the dogs are bleeding. I'm like, what are you telling me the dogs are bleeding for? He said, because I knew you'd get here faster. He thought it was the dogs. I'm like, oh, you're right. Okay, let's see what you did. So, he shows me his finger. I'm like, oh, my God. I said, you got to go to the hospital. Mm-hmm. He's like, I'm not going to the hospital. He's German, just stubborn. He said, I'm not going. Yep. I'm like, well, what are you going to do? He said, you get me Kathy Duffy's herbal bandage right now. Well, I keep that as a part of my medicine cabinet. It's upstairs, it's downstairs. I keep it in several different places. Mm-hmm. So I grabbed it, and I said, I don't know if this is going to work, but my God. I put it on, just like you said. You sprinkle it on.
Yep. We
counted to 10.
Yep.
Bleeding stopped.
Yeah.
And then we bandaged it up.
Yep.
And the same thing. I mean, this healed with no scar. I mean, it healed
it does
perfectly.
Heal fast.
No infection, no scar. I mean, it was amazing. It was just absolutely amazing, and I do highly recommend it. We have had people talking on our show about survival, surviving the apocalypse.
Oh, yeah.
This is a product that everybody should have in their house, whether there's an apocalypse or not, because there's so many times when these accidents do happen, and you need to stop bleeding. I mean, that's one of the most important things you can do is stop bleeding, and this product really works. It really works.
So do you mind if we ask? Do you mind if we ask what the price is on a product like this?
I haven't a clue. I haven't a clue. I don't work the store anymore because it's like a shark feeding frenzy when I'm there. I really don't know. They sell it by the half ounce, I think, in a powder form. But I got to tell you, I take care of Chernobyl children in the summer, kids from Belarus, that was the area that was devastated by Chernobyl. And I have herbal bandage in my bathroom over in Ireland that is 10 years old. And I cut myself last summer, and the stuff works just as well. I forget what I cut myself on, a saw or something. I was messing around with the rose bushes and ran in the house. Wash it first, if you can. You wash it first, soapy water to try to clean it, and then just sprinkle, and 10-year shelf life. Because I started working with the Chernobyl kids in 2001, and so that's however 2001 is from now. That many years old, and it's still working great.
Wow.
As I recall, and I purchased it also. It was not very expensive. It was very, very, very inexpensive, actually. I don't remember the amount, but it was not much.
Oh, nothing in there is real expensive. That's part of the, that what goes around comes around, and we're never going to be millionaires at the Herbarium, but we're so grateful we have our home, we have our lives, we have our groceries every week, we pay our bills, so it's not going to be a multi-million-dollar
Well, it's
shop
an exchange of love, right?
Well, you know what someone's going to help mine the way I help others.
Right.
And I just know that, and when I ask for something to be done to help mine, I feel like I've got a Grace bank account.
Yeah,
you must have a big one by now.
The universe has a way of doing that bank account and filling it up. But right now, Kathy, we have a caller on the line, so we're going to welcome Steve from New York. And Steve, you're live on the air with Kathy Duffy and Patricia and myself. You have a question about your digestive issues?
Hi, yes. I have a history of digestive system problems. And I was wondering what advice you could offer. I've been to numerous doctors and been offered various types of medication from them, and was wondering what else could be done to help things along.
Okay. Did they give you a diagnosis?
Yeah, well, I actually have a few things going on. One, I have been diagnosed with what's called collagenous colitis, diverticulosis, esophageal reflux, and GERD.
Yeah. And I'm sure you've done dietary controls, and you've done something like an elimination diet to see if diet is aggravating this. But I'm really hoping.
I just started dietary control.
Okay, I'm hoping you're on a very good probiotic. And probiotic.
I'm on the probiotical floor store.
I'm going to tell you one of the best ones. And it's up to you whether you want to try it or not. But Renew Life is a company that has excellent digestive aids and probiotics and prebiotics and whatever you're looking for. But make sure wherever you're buying it that it's refrigerated. Even if it says shelf life stable, forget it. You want to make sure that it's cool, that it's not been sitting in a hot truck in the sun somewhere or sitting on a shelf in the pharmacy or wherever. Renew Life is an excellent product, and they have, you probably would need something that's 50 billion to 80 billion per capsule. And you can try things like, if you like it, goat milk yogurt is so good. And it's not cow's milk, it's goat milk. The protein is easier to digest. And that's an
and it tastes great.
Oh, it does. And if you add a little,
it does. It tastes awesome.
You put your fruit in there, or a little maple syrup and fruit. It's really good. You got to know that there is such a thing, Steve, as a gut brain, and your gut and my gut and everybody's gut has more nerve endings in it than our brain that we use between our ears. So what goes around in your head and your heart is going to manifest in your digestive system. The receptors of stress chemicals that are excreted from your brain when you're under stress, the receptor sites in your body, the most receptor sites you have is the lining of the gut and the lining of your blood vessels. So anything that's stressing you is stressing your digestive system and your vasculature.
Okay.
So try Renew Life. Go to somebody who will help you with an elimination diet where you get back to just plain basic foods. If your food that you eat comes in bags and boxes and things like that, all packaged up, try eliminate it. And especially now, it's summertime's coming up, you're going to get fresh fruits and vegetables. Just give yourself a rest. One of the things that I did with my clients was have them do 3 days of all fruit, and that means fruit salad, diluted fruit juices, and that you chew your juices. You don't just drink them, you chew them, mix them, and warm them in your mouth with saliva. 3 days of all fruit, and then 4 days of all vegetable. Vegetable stews, vegetable soups, raw vegetables, salads, no dressings, no nothing, just 3 days of all fruit and 4 days of all vegetable. And you're giving your digestive system a rest.
That sounds good.
See what happens.
And I'll give it a shot.
Good. I'm glad.
Thank you for the call, Steve.
Thank you.
Yeah, to follow up his question, what can you tell us about Crohn's disease?
I have a son who was diagnosed with Crohn's, and it's an autoimmune dysfunction where they think your body is attacking itself.
Right.
So you want to balance that immune system, and for Crohn's, you got to start off with the probiotics. Probiotics is where, when you look at the body, your immune system comes from your gut. So the food you ate 6 hours ago is strengthening or weakening your immune system right now. You have a small intestine that oozes, drips this liquid that becomes your lymphatic fluid. So your body is so directly related to your gut. And probiotics, and it just depends on other symptoms. We've used probiotics. We use other anti-inflammatory things like MSM and things like that for Crohn's. My son was diagnosed.
Do you think Crohn's is actually activated by processed foods, wheat and dairy?
Well, I know that my son was one of the first kids diagnosed in Massachusetts with ADD and ADHD in the 1960s, and we changed his behavior completely by changing his diet. And all of these things, processed foods, aggravate the body. And if you've got a very sensitive gut and you're putting junk in it, junk in, junk out, it's not going to help. It's not going to help. But Crohn's get them on probiotics, get them to look at the food that's in the house, get rid of anything that's packaged and not real, and try real
those processed foods in children especially aggravate so many behavior issues. They really do,
well,
and I know that.
Absolutely,
yeah.
And I found out about it Eric was born in 1967, and it was like 1965, because this was a beautiful, blonde-haired, blue-eyed child who became a madman, and I thought I was doing the right thing by giving him high C juices and things like that because it was loaded with vitamin C, right? Well, we found out for him that the artificial colors made him a crazy man. I mean, he was sleeping like 3-4 hours a night. He couldn't concentrate in school. He couldn't focus. I have in my cedar chest right here at the house a happigram from his teacher in 3rd grade who, well, I was home from work and I was watching the Mike Douglas show while I was cleaning the living room. I'll not forget.
Have to be of a certain age to talk about Mike Douglas, Kathy.
That's right.
Actually, I recognize the reference, so what can I say?
Thank you. And they had doctors from Newington Children's Hospital there in Connecticut. And I called them because it knocked me out. They were describing my son. And they said, we'll take him and and I said, no, you can't have him because nobody likes him but me and my mom. And they said, look, get Ben Feingold's book, Why Your Child is Hyperactive. Follow that book because that's what we're going to do. And I got the happigram from his principal saying, I never realized you were such a nice little boy.
Wow. So it made all the difference in the world, just changing his diet.
Huge. Taking the colors out, taking the additives out. It took me 3 hours to do grocery shopping. I baked our bread. I made everything from scratch. And this was all before this. I'm talking 1966, 67, something like that. No, 76. Sorry, he was. I don't know. He was born in 67, so he was like 8 or 9 years old. We changed everything for the whole family, and it was huge. In 2 weeks, he was a different child.
And everybody was probably feeling better as a result too, because they're all on a healthier diet.
We were all doing it, and it wasn't until he was 12 or 13 when, my kids would say to me, oh, Mom, I love it. I never use plastic. I only use wax paper. And they'd say, oh, Mom, I love it when you make our lunches in those little wax paper bags. Yeah? You know why? They were selling it. My son and his sister.
How enterprising of them.
Yeah.
Well, on that happy note, it's time to take another break, ladies.
Yeah,
so that's what we'll do.
When we come back, please, if you have a health question, call in 646-478-0828. And I'd love to revisit the intestinal issues when we get back also, Kathy. So everybody stay tuned.
Stay tuned. We'll be back.
Sometimes life can be a challenge. Would you like insight and guidance to help you make the best choices right now? Contact Helene at angelslighthouse.com to make your personal appointment for a psychic reading or energy alignment. Helene is a direct channel to the angelic realm and is remarkably capable of connecting to the living as well as to your loved ones on the other side. Helene is available to clients all over the world via phone or Skype, and it's simple to set up a group reading anywhere. Visit angelslighthouse.com, where you'll find an easy way to schedule right online. And while you're there, sign up for the Angels Lighthouse newsletter and receive information on all the free energy circles, giveaways, and jewelry with a message. Visit angelslighthouse.com and contact Helene today.
Your property tax bill. Have you seen it lately? It's frightening. Your property taxes are going up while your home value is going down. It's time to fight back and win. For the real truth about the property tax system, get attorney Pat Quintilian's book, Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. Attorney Quintilian answers all your questions and gives you the facts you need to fight a property tax bill that is spiraling out of control. You'll also read about what happens to property owners who don't check their property records, only to find out too late they're taxed on square footage, fixtures, and even buildings that they don't own. Is this happening to you? Learn your rights. Buy attorney Pat Quintilian's book today. Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. Available on Amazon.com.
Well, welcome back to this fascinating show with Kathy Duffy, an expert herbalist and also aromatherapist. And Kathy, could you give your website again?
Yes, it's theherbarium.com, HERBARIUM.com.
Excellent.
And
Patricia, you had a question?
Yes, I just wanted to say the herbarium is located in Chicopee, Massachusetts. For anybody who's local to the area, they can pay a visit to the actual shop and look at all the beautiful products that Kathy has there. And, yeah, I wanted to revisit this whole thing about intestinal issues because intestinal issues seem to be rampant. And when I talk to people who have intestinal issues, the first thing I talk to them about is their diet. What are you eating? And so many people tell me they're eating a healthy diet, but when I look at what they're eating, it's nowhere near what I would call healthy.
I know.
It's, it's lunch meat and it's hot dogs and it's things that are, that are not what I would consider a healthy diet, especially when you're suffering from, the acid problems or anything like that. But yet I see people reaching for the same types of foods over and over and over again and then complaining of these symptoms.
One of the things I used to tell my clients was to eat your foods as Mother Nature made them.
Yes.
So that tells you right there. You're going to have sweet potatoes, not sweet potato chips. You're going to eat your foods the way Mother Nature made it. You want turkey, you want fish, you want chicken, go ahead. If that's what you want, have it. But without the breading, the sauces, the creamy things, the things that take it out of the way it was originally. And I was thinking about Steve and how he said he had reflux. Well, we've had some great results using fennel essential oil and for reflux. And you take like 2 drops of fennel seed, wild fennel, Funiculum vulgare dulce, the sweet fennel seed. And you put 2 drops of that in a teaspoon of a carrier oil, safflower oil or jojoba oil. Rub it on the chest, up to your neck and down to your belly. And it's so helpful to stop GERD and reflux. You've got reflux happening for quite a few different reasons. And one of the reasons can be there's not enough digestive when we get stressed. When we get stressed, our body responds with the fight or flight response, which means it can be the stress of watching the news. It can be the stress of driving in traffic. It can be the stress of sitting and having lunch with people you don't particularly like, but you have to work with them. It can be the stress of having only 20 minutes to slam down your food and then get back to work again. When we're under stress, whatever our body perceives as stress, it shuts off digestive juices, and it sends the blood to your arms and your legs and your brain so you can fight or flight. You're not going to digest a pizza when you're running away from a tiger. Not going to happen. So people, it makes me crazy when I see people driving in traffic, drinking their something from what America runs on, that company, and eating some kind of fast food something.
Yeah, it's everything's on the run, and people are not making a lot of good choices sometimes. And when somebody has a lot of different symptoms, and it comes down to you really do have to kind of start over with your diet.
Yes.
And there are some herbs also that seem to work very well with the digestive tract, like slippery elm, right? That would be something that someone
slippery
could consider.
Yes, and slippery elm is just that, slippery, and it's mucilaginous, we call it. But slippery elm is becoming an endangered species. So we're using marshmallow, not marshmallow fluff, but marshmallow, two separate words, Althea, powdered up as a substitute for slippery elm. If you mix slippery elm and water, it gets slippery and gooey and turns into slippery. It's like those sore throat lozenges, Thayer's sore throat lozenges.
Right.
You ever seen them?
Yes.
And if you suck on them, they get real slippery in your throat. But it coats the throat, and it soothes a sore throat. Well, it will also soothe the irritated mucous membrane. If you think of it, the openings of your body are all lined with mucous membrane. It's all the same kind of stuff. And if you can, what irritates your mouth will irritate your digestive system. What soothes your mouth and gums, like slippery elm, is going to soothe the rest of your gut.
That's right. Interesting.
We just have to go to simple. If you're hungry, and I would tell my clients, look, get a $7 cooler, put some things in it, make some trail mix that's 3 parts nuts, 2 parts seeds, 1 part fruit. Keep that in the car. Put a cooler and a cold pack in the car. If you're really hungry, nibble on that when you're coming home from work, and then have your dinner. Instead of I think people pull into fast food places just to fill that hole in their belly with something quick.
Right, exactly. And we are on the go so much. We're in our cars quite a bit.
Yes.
So it makes sense to carry something in the car that is healthy, that we could reach for, rather than having to take something that we're going to have a hard time digesting, and it's going to come back to haunt us later on in the night. So, these commercials for these antacids I find hilarious. It's like, eat whatever you want, and then just take this antacid, and it's like, did it ever occur to you people to stop eating the foods that are causing it?
Well, if you go into the over-the-counter medicine areas in your grocery store, you're going to see mostly the same things. Americans, we can't digest our food, so we've got heartburn, we can't poop, and we can't sleep. Those are the biggest sellers.
But don't you think that some of this processed food is actually connected to brain function? Because it kind of causes a craving, right? And so people think it's impossible to break that.
Yes, and there were studies done on fast foods, and the industry knows. Mm-hmm. They know. They put caffeine in soda for a reason, not to add weight like they say, but because human brains become addicted. Our brains are addictifiable, and we have cocaine, caffeine, nicotine, sugar, and alcohol. They click into the same receptors in your brain. So alcohol is as addictive as nicotine, which is as addictive as cocaine. Cocaine, caffeine, and nicotine are plant alkaloids. Those are the most addictive parts, most powerful and addictive parts of a plant. And then we have sugar and alcohol that do the same kind of thing to our brain. So you're looking at you only drink a certain type of soda. Why? What is it? Well, I get a little boost. People say, I don't drink coffee. Well, where do you get your caffeine? I would ask my clients. Well, at break time I have coffee. I have Coke, and I have another caffeinated beverage. You've got caffeine now in all kinds of things. Actually, I was working on a neonatal intensive care teaching the nurses aromatherapy, and the babies there on a NICU in some institutions get caffeinated intravenous IVs.
Why?
Because it perks them up and helps them to breathe. And you got caffeine in all kinds of things. Energy drinks, you've got caffeine in chocolate milk, you've got it in Mountain Dew, you've got it in It's everywhere. It's an accepted drug.
Yes. Yes, and yet how many people are so dehydrated because they're not drinking enough water?
Right.
And they're choosing soda or something like that over water, and they're dehydrated to the point they don't even know it. They don't even feel it anymore.
No.
So.
And then you pump yourself with caffeine and sugar products all day, and then you watch the nightly news at 11 o'clock and hear the doom and gloom. You shut the TV off, and you're supposed to fall right to sleep and sleep straight through the night till that alarm clock jars you awake at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then you're going to get up, stuff yourself with food in the car and more coffee, and go do brain surgery. I don't think so.
Yeah, exactly. Now, there's a couple comments I just wanted to relate to you. They're coming from the chat room tonight.
Yep.
This person is saying that they just learned that Tulsi basil will remove fluoride from the system. And they said, I had severe arsenic poisoning, and I'm still taking 2 tablespoons of cilantro a day. Toxic levels went from 46 to 15, that's 15, in 6 months.
Cilantro.
Yes.
Cilantro, that's not Tulsi basil, but...
No, they started out talking about Tulsi basil. They just said they just learned that will remove fluoride, but they actually had severe arsenic poisoning, and they still take the cilantro for that.
The cilantro is such a powerful antioxidant. I put it in our salads, the leaves. I put it in our if I make like a guacamole type of thing, just mash up ripe avocados and put loads of cilantro in there and lots of lemon, and there it is. I don't put anything else in there. And a little sea salt. It's delicious. Cilantro essential oil, I put it in our hand soaps because one of the things that it does is help diffuse anger, frustration, irritable feelings. And sometimes when you come home from work after a rough day, it's easy to take it out on your family. So I put essential oils in our soaps, which are basically a clear, I don't know if I can use names, but like a 7th generation. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Just a clear, 7th generation type of hand soap. And I put my essential oils in there. Cilantro, you can take a tiny bit of 1 drop of cilantro essential oil and put it in your own homemade salsa or whatever it is that you want to use cilantro for. It's delicious, and it's a wonderful, powerful antioxidant. Very, very good for you. We use these herbs like garnishes when they should be in our salads.
They should be a mainstay rather than just some decorative thing that you put it to the side of your plate.
Yeah.
So, absolutely. And cilantro is very easy to grow, as well as parsley and some of these other wonderful greens that we can include as something as kind of the main deal for dinner.
Now, cilantro is an annual, so when it starts to go to flower, you just keep picking it. If you grew it now, it's coriander seed, but cilantro is the leaves. It's the same plant. And as soon as the flower buds come, you pinch them off, and you'll be able to get another few weeks out of it. But just don't let it go to seed. Same thing with your parsley. Parsley is a biennial, but just pinch off any little flowers that start coming. Yeah,
and that's something you can even grow in your kitchen. You don't even have to have a lot of land to grow it in. You can put it in a pot and keep it in your kitchen, and it'll grow beautifully.
Windowsills. Grows great on a windowsill, outside, window box.
Right, exactly. Now, there is a big connection, as we were discussing before, Kathy, between autoimmune disease and the gut. So can you talk a little bit about that, about how the autoimmune system and the problems in the gut are related?
Your body has an immune system that's your best friend, and it defends you against everything, slivers, colds and flus. And this immune system has a memory. It remembers that when you were 8 years old, you had chicken pox. So you won't get chicken pox again. You'll have the virus in your system. You won't get chicken pox. You could get shingles, or say you had, rhinovirus 1, 2, 3, a cold virus that's number 1, 2, 3. You had that. You won't get that one again. but there are 200 or so cold viruses, and you can get any of them. So you get a shot to not have tetanus or to not get, I don't know, you name something. Your immune system remembers this, and it knows that you're protected. Something happens when we have an autoimmune dysfunction where your immune system perceives your gut or your joints or something in your body as threatening, and so it attacks itself. Like poison ivy or something. You played in poison ivy when you were a kid, and you gradually built up this thing in your body that now at 40 years old, all you have to do is look at poison ivy and you break out. It's kind of like that. The immune system.
What is the connection? What is the between autoimmune and the gut? Because I've heard it said before that, in fact, that a lot of these autoimmune conditions start in the gut. That there's something that goes wrong there first.
Your probiotics are what keep your gut healthy. When your gut is healthy, your immune system is healthy, because your immune system, part of it comes from the gut. The fluid, your lymphatic fluid that goes around your body, originates from your small intestine. So so if that is balanced, you're balanced. If that's imbalanced,
then there's a problem. But what about leaky gut? Because some people have a condition known as leaky gut. I think more people have it than realize it. It often goes undiagnosed. Yeah. And it does become problematic, because then what that's basically alluding to with that term is that molecules are coming out of the intestines, going into the bloodstream, and creating a reaction there. Yep. So there's a lot of people I've heard talk about leaky gut is really at the seat of some of these autoimmune conditions, which have spiraled out of control. I mean, I'm watching the numbers on this, and these autoimmune conditions are like just 10 times what heart disease is and 10 times what cancer is. Nobody's really talking about these numbers, but they're huge. And so
it's all, I think it's all plays into our lifestyle, our stress perception, our lack of spiritual comfort, and lack of whatever that we're poor, good food, clean water. It's not just leaky. What gives us leaky gut syndrome? What is it at the core of us being human? It's emotional, physical, spiritual balance and health, and that's out of whack. I mean, we have shows on television that people watch where somebody kills somebody else, and that's a popular show, NIS or whatever they are. You know, these forensic people, or I can't look at that stuff. They're people. What are the most popular movies? Somebody's blowing up somebody. Somebody's destroying a city. Somebody's got some, some kind of humanity movie going on.
And
it's making us very numb. Yeah, it's making us very numb to that on a mental level. But I think what you're getting at is our bodies are still reacting, and so it's all a matter of what we're taking in and how much of it is not truly digestible.
And your perception of that food. I mean, Carolyn May says that what makes a person intuitive, and I was at a program and she said, I think it's Burger King Whoppers that make people intuitive, and she was being real sarcastic and jokey. But I would tell my clients, look, eat your food the way Mother Nature made it, as clean as possible, and and I can't get them stressed and feeling guilty because they didn't buy everything organic, and I tell them, bless the rest and be grateful and eat consciously. Chew your food, bless your food, chew it till it becomes liquid, focus on it. We eat while we're driving, talking, paying the bills, fighting with somebody. That's not setting up your digestive system.
Well, on a happier note, what success have you seen with people who for years have sort of abused themselves with highly processed foods and eating on the run. Have you seen amazing changes in people in their 40s and 50s and 60s who suddenly go on a whole food kind of diet? Are we able to sort of turn our systems around entirely?
Absolutely. All you have to do is want to do it. The urge to love yourself has to be stronger than the urge for a Kit Kat. That's all.
But could you have a Kit Kat once a month, Kathy?
You know what, honey? You bless it and you enjoy it and you have it. Absolutely.
But, I'll tell you, one thing that I found, especially with sugar, when you stop eating it, you don't really want it anymore. In fact, it tastes bad. It tastes like too much when you eat that Kit Kat or whatever. So it's like once you get off it and you really listen to what your body wants, it doesn't want it. So it's kind of interesting.
It's if we would, we gotta realize that first of all, we're all family. We just live in this big, huge house. We don't have to get along and we don't have to love each other, but we have to respect each other. I don't have to agree with what the guy says next door to me, but I have to at least respect his right to believe the way he believes. That's one thing we gotta get along. We gotta get along. And then we have to get, even Einstein said, we cannot solve the situation of today by using the same methods that got us into trouble in the first place.
That is the definition of insanity.
That's profound.
There you go.
Yeah.
The definition of insanity.
Do the same thing over and over,
expecting a different outcome. And we've got to pray, and we've got to listen to what our guides say. If your conscience is bothering you, that's something telling you don't do that.
Well, on that note, we're going to take another break right now, but this show has been absolutely fascinating. I'm just enthralled with it, Kathy, and thank you for being on the air. Why don't you give your website again?
Yes, it's www.theherbarium.com, and the herbarium is in Chicopee, Massachusetts.
And we have to say right now, Patricia, that people should go on over to supernaturalgirls.com and sign up for our weekly newsletter, because we do have a lot of giveaways coming up, and that's where you can hook up and listen to us live or listen to our archives. So go on over to supernaturalgirls.com, and we'll be back in a few minutes and take another live call from Charlie in Northampton. Stay tuned.
Your property tax bill. Have you seen it lately? It's frightening. Your property taxes are going up while your home value is going down. It's time to fight back and win. For the real truth about the property tax system, get attorney Pat Quintilian's book, Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. Attorney Quintilian answers all your questions and gives you the facts you need to fight a property tax bill that is spiraling out of control. You'll also read about what happens to property owners who don't check their property records, only to find out too late they're taxed on square footage, fixtures, and even buildings that they don't own. Is this happening to you? Learn your rights. Buy attorney Pat Quintilian's book today. Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. Available on Amazon.com.
Sometimes life can be a challenge. Would you like insight and guidance to help you make the best choices right now? Contact Helene at angelslighthouse.com to make your personal appointment for a psychic reading or energy alignment. Helene is a direct channel to the angelic realm and is remarkably capable of connecting to the living as well as to your loved ones on the other side. Helene is available to clients all over the world via phone or Skype, and it's simple to set up a group reading anywhere. Visit angelslighthouse.com, where you'll find an easy way to schedule right online. And while you're there, sign up for the Angels Lighthouse newsletter and receive information on all the free energy circles, giveaways, and jewelry with a message. Visit angelslighthouse.com and contact Helene today.
Welcome back, everyone, and thank you for staying tuned. I will mention again that everyone should go over to our website, right, Patricia, at supernaturalgirls.com and sign up for our newsletter. And once you sign up, you are automatically entered into our future giveaways, so it's all good.
And we have lots of them coming up. So
yes, we do.
It's going to be a chance to win a wonderful book by possibly Dr. Richard Allen. Let's see if I can get his name right. Miller. I did it.
Yeah. Kathy, you ready for another caller?
Yeah, not a problem.
Okay, so let's welcome Charlie from Northampton. We're all in Massachusetts, Charlie, and so are you. Welcome to the show.
Thanks very much. Good show. I like this.
Oh, thank you.
I have a question for Kathy. Is there any aromatherapy oils or herbs for hypertension, high blood pressure? I just don't like the medication that I'm on. I'm trying to get off it, but I need something to fill it in, so I'm just looking for another direction.
There's loads of things you can do for high blood pressure. Talking about, now, if you have high blood pressure, I have to tell you that you've got to get permission from your physician, and you still have to stay under your doctor's care, and your job, if you have high blood pressure, is to have a blood pressure machine at home, calibrate it with your doctors to make sure that yours matches his, and as you take your natural supplements, you monitor your pressure, and with his permission, her permission, you can reduce your medication or gradually come off your medication. So, depending on what your medication is, first thing you want to do is clean up your diet and drink plenty of liquids. I don't know what blood pressure medication you're on, but there are some that spare potassium, so we can't go in that direction. Essential oils for lowering blood pressure, there's quite a few, and one of the most powerful, there's two of them that I can think of. Ylang Ylang is one, and it's called the Flower of Flowers. True Lavender, these we put in a mixture, and you apply them to the chest area, you apply them to the back of the neck, your pulse points, and Giravitz is another one that helps to lower blood pressure. So there are essential oils you can use. There's magnesium that you can take as a mineral, more magnesium than your calcium. Hawthorn berries, hawthorn berry extract, or hawthorn capsules. But the most important thing when you're trying to come off a blood pressure medication is you're got to be responsible and monitor your pressure at home and show your doctor what you're doing and how your pressure is changing, and then with the doctor's blessing you can come off. But you don't just stop.
No.
Okay.
So you said Ylang Ylang?
Yes, is one. Yes, and you take
lavender.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
I would make a mixture. It's going to smell floral, but it's going to help. Ylang Ylang and lavender are very powerful antispasmodics, so they relax blood vessels. And Ylang Ylang also is an essential oil that we use to strengthen the heart and to diffuse anger. And some people who, when they're on blood pressure medication, it's an irritation to them. And a chronic irritation is something that ticks you off. It just irritates you. And
I don't like taking it.
Well, that's the time for Ylang Ylang and lavender. And Giravitz is a herby-smelling essential oil. But these are some relaxing ones that will help lower blood pressure. But again, you monitor, you keep track of it, and then you can work with your doctor.
Okay. Do you answer questions via email or?
I have to refer them through the shop,
Okay.
through the herbarium, because I just don't. I spend a lot of time teaching and traveling, and there's an email on the website, and you can address your questions to them.
Very good. All right. Thanks very much, Kathy.
You're welcome.
Thank you for the call, Charlie. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Interesting question. So you mentioned capsules as well, and could you go over that again? Because I think you said magnesium.
Capsules. I think I was talking about hawthorn capsules. Yeah, hawthorn berry. Hawthorn berries, hawthorn flowers, hawthorn leaves. Crataegus oxyacantha is the name of the plant, and it's a wonderful plant. It has an affinity to blood vessels to help relax blood vessels, and we used it for years and years for people with heart issues, for angina in family members. And I remember my husband's mom had a lot of heart issues, and she took her hawthorn for years and years and years. And at about 87, she had to go have some heart surgery. And I remember after the surgery, because she would be short of breath walking to the mailbox and this and that. And after the surgery, the doctor said he'd never seen blood vessels like hers. They were like tree roots.
Oh, my goodness.
There was all these new blood vessels that had grown. And that's what hawthorn does. It enhances collateral circulation, it's called. And so Grandma Jen had all these extra little blood vessels that had grown off of the main ones to try to balance off all those years of kielbasa and things like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question just because it's a hot topic, and, diabetes is epidemic now.
Yeah.
And aside of the, generally prescribed dietary changes and all that, what kind of supplements are good for that, just because I know a lot of the audience is listening?
I'm going to go real simple, and a quarter teaspoon of cinnamon powder. You put it in your yogurt. You put it on your cereal. Mix it with the almond butter or something like that. Put it on your toast. It's very effective to help lower blood sugar. And one of the things I would tell my clients is this is what you've got to do. You've got to eliminate anything that has OSE on the end of it. So maltose, sucrose, dextrose, glucose is sugar. So you eliminate all obvious sugars. You increase your protein and you increase your fiber. Because if you bump the fiber up in your gut, it takes a little longer for that sugar to get absorbed into the bloodstream. Overt sugar is absorbed directly through the stomach lining, which is why we would give diabetics orange juice, or now it's Coca-Cola, if they take their medication and haven't eaten. But if you're eliminating sugar, everything you eat, your brain tries to your brain only thrives on sugar and fat. So your body tries to convert everything you eat to some type of sugar, and not everything, but most of the things, carbohydrates and things like that. But if you bump up the fiber in your gut, it takes a little longer for that to happen. So you've got
what
to,
kind of cinnamon would you recommend? An organic powdered cinnamon?
Yeah. Just plain old powdered cinnamon. The studies didn't actually tell exactly what cinnamon they were using, but it's only a quarter teaspoon. A quarter teaspoon of cinnamon during the day. Sometime during the day, you mix it with, like I said, yogurt or applesauce or whatever, and you'll see there's a change in your blood sugar. But you've got to walk, and you've got to, I see people who are diabetic now drinking, having their desserts, not changing their diet much because they adjust their medication. That's not the right way to do it.
Right.
Right. That isn't.
No.
We see that all the time.
I know.
Everybody wants that magic pill and keep doing what I'm doing kind of thing.
I know.
And the doctor, at the end of the day, is not going to fix you, so neither is that medication. So that's a wonderful suggestion with cinnamon. What about bitter melon? We hear a lot about bitter melon lately.
Yep.
That's another one?
Yep, that's another one. I try not to tell people one pill for this, one pill for that, because then you go back into the Band-Aid mentality. Where
Right.
did that diabetes come from? Well, we think that when the sweetness has gone out of your life, where's your self-worth? Was there, I would say to my clients, what happened to you emotionally, spiritually, about 18 months before your diagnosis? What happened? There's a connection between what happens in the body and our emotional body and our chakra system. So you're talking about the third chakra area. You're talking about the pancreas. What's that third chakra area? It's your self-esteem, your self-worth. It has to do with suppressed anger, bitterness, not rage, but just underlying type of thing. You know, everything ticks me off.
I'm so glad you said this. This is brilliant what you're saying, and I totally agree with you. It is a most often misunderstood aspect of disease is where we are emotionally and how we are just not paying attention to those feelings or stuffing them down or trying to ignore them.
Yeah, we're eating them. I did private consultation for years, and then I couldn't do it anymore because I was doing it 7 days a week, and I just hit a wall. I couldn't do it anymore. And one of the things I learned to do was palm reading, emotional palm reading, so that because I felt obligated to learn as much as I could about my client in the short period of time that I saw them. So they had to write a 5-day food list for me, anything that passed their lips, and the time that it occurred, and what did they eat, and how many sticks of gum did they have, and cigarettes, and this and that. And I would do a food analysis on them first of all, and suggest, and I would do kinesiology to muscle test them. But one of the things I did was look at their palms, and the more I did that, the more answers came to me. I didn't know what I was looking at on some hands, and boom, out of my mouth would come, do you do this, do you do that? And I realized, it's not just me that's saying that. It's I'm being helped. And by looking at the palm and seeing where were their emotions, how hot was their anger, how suppressed was their rage, how low were their B vitamins, because there's ways to look at the hands and the fingers and see different nutritional deficiencies. Unless you cut it off, your head's connected to your body by your neck.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just,
so along these same lines of diabetes, you know, another big hot topic right now is fibromyalgia. And
what
you know, when we talk about you know, things coming in spiritually and emotionally first, I'm wondering if you can talk about fibromyalgia a little bit.
Your energetic body gets it first.
Mhm.
That's where you get it. Fibromyalgia, chronic illnesses, fibromyalgia diagnosed with the trigger points. If it's not diagnosed, we use so many different substances, but people got to know where it's coming from. It's usually coming from a lack of control. I'm out of control. I have no choices. I have no nothing. And you know, it's a hard thing to say, but sometimes people want good strokes, but we'll take bad strokes because it's better than no strokes. So I want...
It's also a comfortable place for some people, you know, too.
Exactly.
But,
exactly.
Yeah, but what can people do with herbs to help fibromyalgia heal fibromyalgia?
There's different things that we do with anti-inflammatory herbs. And sometimes just a really good, to start, a really good multivitamin and mineral with enough magnesium will give relief. You got to start somewhere. And I don't mean the kind that you get in the grocery store. I mean a liquid multivitamin and a mineral formula that's easy to absorb, all chelated minerals, especially magnesium. There are magnesiums in powder form. Anybody with muscle pain, spasms, inflammatory condition, I always had them start with magnesium first and see what.
And this isn't from the grocery store. It's from specialized places.
Absolutely.
Or
yeah, because the cheap magnesium, like magnesium's in the citrate form, it works for a little bit and then boom, everybody's in the john because it's a laxative. But there are different forms, there's glycinate, there's malate, aspartate. There's different forms that are easier to absorb. I swear in this country, it's a general broad-spectrum magnesium deficiency. If you've got any jumpy, twitchy muscles, if you've got trigger point type of pain, if you've got constipation, cramps in your legs, twitches by the eye, easy tooth decay, nails that are brittle or easy to break, insomnia, loud noises go through your head. Those are just some of the deficiencies. Chocolate cravings. These are saying magnesium deficiency. They're calling out saying, you need more.
Why are we so deficient in magnesium?
Because we're taking all the calcium. Calcium and magnesium, they race each other into the bones. If you look on the label, everything's got calcium carbonate, calcium this or that. There's calcium in everything. So calcium tenses muscles, magnesium relaxes muscles. You need a balance. And we don't have that. Yeah. Everything is calcium fortified because we listen to the dairy industry, So everything's fortified. Well, you're tensing muscles and tightening things up. It's not that we don't need calcium. I'm sure we do. But if we ate our foods the way Ma Nature made them, we wouldn't be going through all. We'd still have to have supplements, yes, because we can't eat a table full of brown rice and get enough B complex just to open our eyes in the morning. Our world is so much more stressful than it was. If you took a caveman from cave times, and they did this type of experiment years ago. They took bushmen out of the bush in Australia, and they brought them into the city life, changed their diet, brought them into the modern world, and every single one of them, their blood pressure went up, they became hypertensive, they kept them out for a few months, put them back in the bush, and things reverted to normal. If you put us in the caveman world, it would be difficult. We'd have to learn a lot of new skills, but I bet you we could survive. You bring them here, and it's our civilization. It's our culture. It's our rush. It's our hostility.
Now, do you think that the fruit and vegetables that we buy are being sort of hybrid variations that don't have the minerals and vitamins that they had years ago?
They don't. If you did a soil analysis of the New England soil, it's deficient in selenium. And without selenium, we know we grow tumors, especially esophageal tumors. So we don't have the nutrients. We're artificial fertilizer. We're not resting the soil. When I was a kid growing up, there would be fallow fields in Massachusetts. We'd see them. They would just let go and they'd grow clover, or they would just have alfalfa on them, and the crops were rotated. You go by the same cornfields, and it's the same corn year after year after year after year. And do you ever see weeds in a cornfield? No, you don't, because most of the corn is pre-treated with herbicides. So that doesn't grow. You don't see weeds in a cornfield. If we were indigenous people, we'd be growing the Three Sisters. We'd have a corn stalk with beans growing around it and squash at the bottom so the big leaves kept the weeds away. We don't do that.
Yeah, we don't. But there is more consciousness about this, and there are people who are starting gardens in their own yards and trying to do things this way, and it does make sense. I have another question too that's just come up in the chat room, and it's about sugar. And they want to know, how do you stop the sugar cravings? Now, I think there's a lot of people that can relate to that question.
And it's just like, how do you stop a cigarette craving? What do? You have to go through the detox. You have to stop it. And That's what's really hard. And sugar cravings are emotional, spiritual, and physical. And if you nibble on protein during the day, your blood sugar is not going to take and if your fiber is up enough in your gut, your blood sugar is not going to take that dip where you got to get up in the morning and people have coffee. Coffee is a hypoglycemic agent. It lowers blood sugar. So they have 1 cup of coffee, and then they have to have another cup of coffee because they didn't get enough of a buzz. And if they have coffee with toast or coffee with a muffin, I guarantee you in 2 or 3 hours they're looking for food again. They may not be hungry, but they're looking. And so you need to keep small bits of protein in your diet throughout the day to help stop that crash, especially around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That after lunch time where, you know, the birds come to the feeder around 3 o'clock and people start looking for chocolate around 3 o'clock.
Right.
Yeah, we've all experienced that, right?
Yeah. I know. And I see it with my students. You know, we come back from lunch and it's like the girls are looking, where's the chocolate? Who brought chocolate? You know, you need that little boost. But if you had some protein at that lunch and maybe a half of a protein bar or something at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you can help yourself with that sugar craving. Protein will help eliminate the sugar craving. Dried fruit, but not eating a lot of it, a small amount. So Mother Nature gives you this measuring cup, and if you make a fist and you look at your fist from the top, you look at your fist, okay, that's about a 3-ounce size of meat or potato or something. And then if you want to put the dangerous foods like dried fruit or a piece of chocolate, put it in the palm of your hand and cover your fingers over it. And that's a good measuring. So you can have a little bit, but there, you know, there's some kind of ism in all of us, you know, where it's either it's alcohol, it's workaholic, it's chocoholic, it's humans are so addictive. There's a wonderful book that my darling son gave me when he turned 18, and it's called Chocolate to Morphine, and it's Andrew Weil's, the holistic doctor's first book. And it talks about how humans are addictive, and we're habituated, and we have a tendency to get addicted. You have to fall asleep on your right side, or you have to flip your pillow over, or you have to do something, or, you know, you have your rituals that you do in the morning when you get up, or you can't go to sleep if you forget to brush your teeth, or something. But this is how we become, and this is what we do to ourselves food-wise also. And we do.
But it does make a difference what you're saying about the protein throughout the day.
Yeah.
And, I mean, what I found is that if I'm eating a really good diet, and then what tends to work for me is more on the raw side, which I, was very resistant to for a long time. But then what I realized was when I was doing more of that, and the enzymes were still in the food because it was raw, and I didn't have any cravings at all for anything.
But you eat a little bit frequently, right? Did you eat a little bit frequently?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was more frequent. There were no 3 big meals a day or anything like that. It was small throughout the day, but more, raw food and, nuts and seeds and salads. And it was delicious food. But what I noticed was, oh, my God, I'm not craving chocolate at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right.
I'm not craving a cookie. And I don't eat much of that stuff anyways, but still I noticed, that everything was much more balanced when my diet was what was right for me. I'm not saying it's right for everybody, but it was right for me.
And we have genetically, so many people who have an addictive parent, grandparent, uncle, and it could be anything from, like I said, chocolate to morphine. It can be cigarettes, it can be alcohol, it can be sugar, it can be all kinds of things that we are genetically predisposed to. So people will say to me, I can have this kind of sweet, but if I have one Oreo, I'm going to eat the whole bag or however, And we all have that. We all have that. And so the thing that happens is if you want to stop the sugar cravings, it's going to take a week or so. But once you get it cleared out, oh my goodness, what a difference it makes in your body, how well you feel. You think you can't live without it. But once you go without it for a while, it's like, why did I ever have this in the first place?
Exactly. That's what I find, too. Because sugar is, I noticed with sugar, I could eat chocolate at, let's say, 11 o'clock in the morning.
Sure.
I would then want chocolate again at 11 o'clock the next morning. It was that precise in terms of what my body was saying, it's time for that chocolate. It's 11 o'clock again. So it is a feeling of freedom to get away from that and feel that it's not going to control you.
Yeah, and it's not just the chocolate. It's the theobromine that's in there and the caffeine that's in there and the sugar.
Right, all of those things. Although they do say, though, that dark chocolate is actually good for you, and it's actually helpful.
Yeah, something over 70%. But, I dare you to take a big bite of a 90% chocolate.
Disgusting.
Not too tasty.
Cardboard.
No.
Did you ever try those chocolate nibs?
Yes.
Oh,
please.
they're terrible.
I have them in the freezer. I have this big pack of them in the freezer that I thought, this is going to be wonderful. I can nibble a nib whenever I want. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I had maybe two. Turned my tongue inside out because it was
This has been one fascinating program, hasn't it, Patricia?
Oh, thank you.
Oh, my God. Kathy, it's so great having you on the show, and I know that we're still not going to be able to get to all the questions we have here in the chat room and on the phones because, again, you're just such a great, great wealth of knowledge for everybody, and I know Helene and I both love the way you bring all the elements together. It's not just the body we're talking about, the physical body.
Oh, no.
It's so many other things. It's the spiritual connection. It's the emotional connection. And, Helene and I, we both love the way you present this material. It makes people think. And that's what we love about all our guests. All our guests make people think. But you're really bringing a lot of important issues to the table here tonight, and people really need to pay attention. It's time to take our health into our own hands and start making some better choices and taking responsibility, being proactive, coming to your store, the Herbarium, and either online or in person, and finding the right herbs to take. There's so many other things that you have in the store we didn't even get to tonight, like your mineral tea and all of that great stuff. So,
Next time.
No, we've got to bring you back for more
Absolutely.
exploration.
We'll do it. It's been my pleasure. You girls are delightful to talk to.
Oh, thank you.
And it just feels like it's just the three of us.
Yes, and then I can tell you from the chat room and the callers we have lined up that there are lots more people than the three of us, but it's wonderful to be able to share this with everybody.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Thank you, Kathy. It's been a wonderful evening.
Thank you so much, Helen, for having me.
We're going to have you back in a couple of months. I know that people are going to be asking, so I'm just going to tell everybody now, yes, we will have Kathy back.
Okay. I'll come when you call.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you, ladies. Take care now. God bless.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye. What a fascinating show, Patricia.
Yeah,
I'd just love to talk to her for another 2 hours. It was just so great. But
we could easily.
Blog Talk has their parameters here, and we don't want to leave anybody in the lurch. So we want to just give a final shout to sign up at supernaturalgirls.com so that you're automatically entered into our future giveaways. And, Patricia, it's been a wonderful night. It went by so quickly, didn't it?
It did, and I just want to mention that next week, Helene and I are going to be undergoing a very mysterious training in Australia, and so we will be repeating our show with Lon Milo Duquette, and I highly recommend it because he brought forth some profound wisdom, and you've got to hear it for yourself. And then we'll be back the following week with a brand new guest and a brand new topic.
Well, it's time to say goodnight, Patricia.
Yes, it is. And good night, Helene. Good night to everybody in our audience. Pleasant dreams.
Thank you for listening. Good night.
Thanks for listening. Tune in next week for another radio adventure with Supernatural